hello to Minnesota and Detroit fans watching at home here on DerbyAccess.com. And it looks like Minnesota starting with a Naptown fence right away. Is tactic very, very effective against Minnesota when Naptown came along. Also very effective against Nashville just a few months later. Looks like we are starting off with 187 on an undercover Lexicutor for Minnesota. Should be jamming against number 28. That is Racer McChaser for Detroit. Once again, Minnesota in blue and green, or as they like to call them, Aqua and Army. Detroit in the ever-menacing black and red.
See, I could have used you yesterday when we were trying to decide, was it a teal, was it an aquamarine, and we were actually corrected, Aqua and Army.
Aqua and Army.
So
it's a rugby scrum right away. Lexi and Racer trying to get through. Who's going to be the first to make it through the pack?
I'm thinking it might be, it could be. This is how we stall in roller derby to see the first
Oh
one,
goodness.
because that just
Lexi
means it's
takes
good.
a tumble. Woo.
Could be anybody at this point. Lexi indeed is getting pummeled throughout the pack.
Behind 4 Naptown girls. Racer trying to get around the outside. Runs into Jukebox.
Got to watch those skates. She was going over the line more than once, but she was, again, always wise to make sure she was behind.
Oh, first lead jam eventually just goes to Detroit. Booty Livers gets sent out to the box for, I believe, a forearm penalty. But I think she'll take that. Gives Detroit a good half-track advantage over Minnesota straight away.
As you can see, pack a little bit spread out. Racer McChaser gets up in, realizes it's a lot of struggle for not a lot of points, decides to call it, regroup. Sometimes it's just wise to be aware of how it's going to go. Get enough time, reset. You're well into the beginning of the game.
Minnesota lines up first here. We got Medusa lining up against Effin' Money.
Both of these jammers in their games earlier this weekend have been probably some of the powerhouse jammers. Effin' Money, I would say half the points that were put up seemed to have come from
absolutely.
her. And Medusa, probably very similar so far. So this is one of those matchups that we were, you don't ever want to say you were hoping to see, because, you have your personal favorites, but I am very glad it is here right now, and this is not a surprise to see this tactic once again. They are going to be pushing each other around the ellipse all hour long.
Oh, cuts around the inside. That is Effin' Money. She's your lead jammer. There she goes. Medusa still having to make it past 2 Detroit blockers, one of whom gets sent to the box.
Cool Whip goes out to the box in the meantime. Again, that is N20.
Medusa takes the fall. Still trying to get past those last 2 Detroit blockers.
Almost able to do it. Nice bit of a low cookie rumble, low edge. I think she gets...
And another. Detroit just going to the box for all these illegal hits.
That was Cookie Rumble. She gets a major elbow, so she is going to go down to the penalty box.
But that's a grand slam for Detroit. 5 big roller derby points on the board.
As you can see right there, lots of blue toward the back, a little bit of black team at the front, decides that that's going to end the jam there.
So after 2 jams, we are at Detroit 6, Minnesota with a goose egg.
Dr. Hauschka celebrates the fresh faces of the WFTDA. Stop by their website, drhauschka.com, for more information.
Honey Suckett had originally lined up for Detroit. She was replaced with Racer McChaser, going up against Harmony Killer Brews. Racer kind of edging her team back a little bit. There we go, Harmony Killer Brews, first lead jam from Minnesota. Pouring on the speed, 3/4 of the way around.
Racer McChaser just trying to make her own way. Minnesota doing a formidable amount of defense, not a solid wall, but a nice rotating one, just not going to give her any real opportunity. But in the meantime, Jammer is going to be able to come around and pick up the 5-point grand slam.
Tiki Torture, her first Minnesota penalty right here today. Trying to take out Racer McChaser. Did a couple of good times, but I didn't see the penalty on the other side of the track, but she is the first middle center penalty for the day.
Looks like somebody was blocking the wrong way there. Minor penalty was assessed.
It's entirely possible.
These things happen.
From time to time.
Racer McChaser has one more defender, gets around her, she's out. That is her initial pass. As you can see the wave off, indicating that that is the first time she has been able to break through. A rarity for it to take her an entire minute to get all the way around. 5 more points. Looks like she must have passed her into the pack. Decides she's going to get 5 more. Harmony Killebrews calls off the jam before Racer McChaser can get back in to potentially score any.
Lead change, ladies and gentlemen. That's Minnesota's lead change. First lead of the day for Minnesota. Minnesota, of course, skating on Rydell skates from beautiful Red Wing, Minnesota. Always rocking the home state action.
The home state skate.
That's right. They are a proud partner in the official skate of the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, Rydell Skates. Lexicutor up here from Minnesota. This time I believe that's Honeysuckett. Her jersey's a little bit, yep, Honeysuckett.
She's small enough when she gets bent down, you just compact. You can't even see her. She has got to be the tiniest person from both of these teams. Both of these teams not known for their petite jammers, but that is the one right there. She is out. She is your lead. In the meantime, jammer from Minnesota pulling some fantastic moves if she can get around who delivers. Did she make it?
Nope, she did not, looks like, unfortunately, for Minnesota. Lexicutor still on her initial pass. There she goes, makes it through. Jukebox trying to answer in kind there. Jukebox trying to take her out.
Honeysuckett has got some work cut out for her right now. Jukebox able to get a nice bit of a push, holds her out. I think there might be a penalty that was assessed on her for that.
And 2 points for Detroit, bringing them up to 8.
It does indeed look like Jukebox drew a major, so she was going to be sent to the penalty box.
I'm sure she has an excuse for it. I'm sure, you know.
Rationale, I imagine.
Yeah. Commander Nix making her first jam appearance today. Racer McChaser making her third.
I wonder if we're going to see a lot of her today.
It's entirely possible.
That's how these things come down. Interesting bit of a maneuver.
Yeah.
She was kind of sidestepping along that interior edge.
Kind of a galloping eagle doing here.
Got out in front, but it looks like she may have potentially jumped the gun. She did. It looks like she got the illegal procedure. She is being sent to the penalty box. Power jam situation happening right now for Minnesota.
And that's Minnesota Power Jam. Jammer released, and here we go.
Commander Nix seeing if she can get
from
that line.
That is a heavy, heavy Detroit wall there. Wow. Detroit recycling. We got 2 in front. Secondhand smoke pushing 1 out, pushing 2 out. But Detroit recycles, gets another in front. Still Commander Nix.
Oh, interesting.
Trying to streak behind, trying to re-enter behind and having to go through the pack again. That
is what we saw. She was put to the inside. She cannot jump out in front of somebody, so she's got to move back. That is some smart play. That is amazing. The way that they're just kind of recycling, putting themselves in that position. But now you can see there's just all of this pent-up energy. They finally have that breakaway, and it's just hit.
Oh, another big hit there. Ruzi Sue.
Pack now split into 2 substantial chunks.
Eventually they split up enough, they have to let her through. There she goes. Lead jammer, finally. Commander Nix. And that took her the entire time for Racer McChaser. Wow.
That's some
great move by Detroit there.
Great defense to burn up some of that penalty time, get Racer McChaser back out. But again, very smart from Commander Nix. She knew that she was through. She's like, I have just worked too hard to now race against Racer McChaser.
Man, these teams, it's going to be an even match. Both these teams this year have lost against Windy. Both have won against Naptown. Both have won against Madison. Minnesota won against Madison twice. Both have lost against Philly, and both of them pretty much came down to the last jam against Philly there.
I believe we might have an official timeout.
Officially called by the officials.
Nuvo is Indy's alternative voice. They are a proud sponsor of the Naptown RollerGirls. Also, Antic Boots, Reckless Wheels, and Moto Bearings. They are revolutionizing roller derby. Antic Boots, Reckless Wheels, and Moto Bearings.
Harmony Killebrews is your lead jammer. She's gotten through just between turns 1 and 2. Minnesota forms the wall up front, the Great Wall of St. Paul. Nice cross checks by Detroit there. Harmony holding her face there. Hope she's doing okay.
A lot of blockers right down in front of us were taking an extra moment. Almost they were covering their head like, I don't know if someone's going to pile on top of me, but I just want to be safe and hold
Absolutely.
still. El Iminator goes to the box on that.
Grand slam for Minnesota. You can definitely see why Black Eyed Skis wears that full face helmet there. I'm really surprised that more players aren't doing that with the amount of hits that are going to the face, especially this weekend.
Yes, absolutely. Looks like
another
Minnesota,
4 points for Minnesota.
They are up. They are at 19 points. I believe Detroit is going to hold at 8 at this point. Interesting to see. I want to remind you that Minnesota is actually a 3rd seed entrant to our playoffs. Detroit is in the number 2 slot. So these two are going to be facing off against the winner of Windy City and Naptown, which will be later on tonight.
Detroit's coach, McSpeedy Pants, came on out there, talked to the officials, and he's stuck out there in the center as the drawbridge is up as play resumes.
It's one of that inside perspective.
Man, Detroit is just warming that box. Lexecutor, your lead jammer for Minnesota. Detroit has really got to watch their penalties or Minnesota's just going to run over them.
Jukebox doing a great job once again on Booty Livers. Was able to knock her down, put her back. She's still at the back of the pack. She is just working her left and right. I think that might be the major cut call.
Yep.
Indeed it was. Just like we were saying. Jukebox at the back was smart, backed it up. Booty Livers thought she might have been outside of 20 feet. Doesn't even matter. She's going to go to the penalty box.
Nope. And another one, number 6 for Detroit, Elle McPherson again. Jukebox knocked her out, backed up just enough. Elle McPherson came in front and went to the box as well. It's a minivan situation for Minnesota. Minnesota's advantage.
Don't you know?
The Minnesota fans are doing the minivan, 2 fingers up and a fist. It means the parents are in front of the minivan, the kids are in back. They're doing whatever they want because the parents can't get back there.
Don't make Jukebox turn this thing around. She'll do it. Smart play once again. Someone outside of the pack zone, got to get back into it in the right place. Looks like another grand slam for Minnesota. They are really trying to put some distance on this great power jam opportunity. They are using it to the maximum.
Yep. Racer McChaser hanging out in the back of the pack, blocking. She pushed out onto the inside, Lexecutor, and then skated back about 20 feet, making her re-enter behind.
All right, Jammer back in for Detroit. Let's see if that changes up the defensive strategy. I don't think it did. I think that was a very smart move. Detroit Jammer comes in, takes advantage of the hole. Other Jammer from Minnesota didn't even see her.
Booty Livers made her initial pass, and Lexecutor calls it off. Wow, Minnesota with a pretty commanding lead right away. Jukebox heading to the box, it looks like. Yep, making sure to swing by the bench and say, hey, I'm not sitting down here, I'm sitting down over here. Minnesota at 44, Detroit 8.
Jukebox just saying like, so this is where everybody goes when I hit them. Interesting.
And we have a timeout charged to Detroit.
Want to thank Derby Supply, the best customer service in the business, period. That is Derby Supply. Also want to encourage you to drink Sun King. It is handcrafted, it is award-winning, it is brewed in Indianapolis, where we are at right now at the WFTDA North Central Region Playoffs, the Monumental Mayhem.
We got a Twitter message on the pound talk to what? That's talk number 2 WFTDA on Twitter saying Detroit is in the Eastern Time Zone. I did not know that. So thanks to Afro-Bitey for writing in and giving us a geography lesson.
I guess from a longitudinal standpoint, I could imagine where Indianapolis is center.
Yep.
Detroit is more east.
Guess, but they're kind of jagged especially when you go over like the Dakotas.
Well, and you have that so close to Canada factor. You have to.
That's true.
The Canadian quotient has to be factored in.
Well, thanks, Afro-Bitey. So really, it's an hour later for these Detroit girls. All right, that is Honeysuckle lining up in black for the Detroit Derby Girls, up against number 13 in blue and green for Minnesota. That is Medusa. Medusa just transferred to Minnesota from North Star last year after championships, and she's certainly been an asset to this league.
Interesting. I heard the one whistle, then I heard the one after. Somehow there was no pack, I guess, but they must have called it at the moment.
Secondhand Smoke getting too far in front, eventually having to let Honeysuckle through. Medusa still not making it through that. Medusa's at the back of the pack again. Wow, Detroit has just walled up the back here.
Yeah, Jukebox draws the obvious you can't hit that way. So she's going to pick up a minor.
And Honeysuckle hits it again. Grand Slam. Gertrude Stein going to the penalty box.
Lots of good pack bundling up in turn 2. You can see they're just trying to reposition. Nobody seems to have any benefit. There's not a solid wall. There's not a solid wedge formation. It's just clusters of which. And it looks like Honeysuckle was able to finally take advantage of exactly that. Secondhand Smoke once again goes a little too far, has to let her go.
Yeah, third in a row where Honeysuckle has just made it through, and Secondhand Smoke has had to give up the chase. All right, Jukebox is back in for Minnesota. Detroit is showing, man, that they are still in this.
Medusa finally on her initial pass. We're going to see.
Honeysuckle probably going to go through one more time, yeah. Call it off. There she goes.
I would imagine she'd have that kind of awareness on the track to be like, and scene. Let's call it.
Yeah, unfortunately for Minnesota, she was not able to get through that last time. Detroit picked up another 4. So Minnesota stays at 44. Detroit, I believe that score is current at 23. Nope, they are going up to 27. Harmony Killebrews up here for Minnesota up against Racer McChaser for Detroit. Both teams with one player in the box, one blocker in the box.
All right, that's what busts it up. They get outside. The pack's more than 20 feet. Just that one member. That's enough to get the jammers off the line.
This is not what Minnesota needs right now. They have some momentum. Detroit is going to try to use this to their advantage to really take it as far as they can, as fast as they can.
Did not see the call, but Harmony Killebrews is in the box. So right now, power jam for your lead jammer, Racer McChaser. She's through the pack. She's got a lot of blue out there, a little bit of black assistance. Now it's just a speed game to see how quickly she can get it back around to the pack. Though all of a sudden, things just seem to slow down for her.
And Detroit is back up at full blocking strength. If there's one player you want out there jamming for you in a power jam situation, if you're Detroit, that's Racer McChaser.
5-point grand slam. That's going to bump them ever closer. Minnesota's going to sit at 44 for just a little while longer. Smart pull-up move. Racer McChaser comes in, realizes she might not be the most legal way to pass. She just slows it up a bit, hops right back up.
Another push out by Tiki Torture. Racer enters behind. Tiki Torture 1-2 hits. And has to let her through.
You can see Tiki Torture really coiling in for the windup. Gets the hit, just cannot slow her down enough. Gets 2 good solid momentum pauses, and then it just keeps going. Racer McChaser is able to get around. And
Harmony's back in. Goes through, that's her initial pass. So Racer McChaser, that is it.
Elemental Technologies, the world's most powerful video processing solutions. Thank you to Elemental Technologies, a proud stream sponsor for the WFTDA.com Streamcast.
Looks like Jukebox is making her first jammer appearance of the day for Minnesota. She's going up against Effin' Money, who was pretty effing money last night when they took on Brew City.
Every time she's on the track. And yes, I believe we did hear one whistle.
We did. Time is moving.
Time isn't holding up. It's just kind of, I've never seen that wiggle technique where they just are kind of holding still in the skates, just get them across the line.
They keep on moving. Whoa, apex jump!
One of the,
oh! She disagrees vehemently with that call.
I didn't see, he just points her out. I did not see any hand signal from Shoveler.
I didn't see any contact. I didn't see anything.
He was just verbal about it. He did not indicate what it was, but the crowd obviously not too happy. You see some big plays. I've seen Jukebox make that before, and she is one of the few who can land it well. From my angle, I didn't see it, but the crowd still not happy.
Grand Slam, Detroit. Grand Slam Effin' Money. Backing up. Effin' Money weaving through like they're cones. Detroit slowing up the pack, trying to smack it up here, trying to make it let it through. Minnesota slows down as well. Up in front.
Right there.
Let her through.
Tomahawks up. That's 20 feet. They don't have to make sure you see them. All they have to say is 20 feet. If you're not looking, you make contact. That's enough. But good eyes on the blockers for Minnesota.
Jukebox standing. She has 10 seconds or less remaining on her penalty there. And Effin' Money calls it.
I think smart. She knew that she was going to be coming in. She realized there's not even going to be enough time to get more jam in anyway. Why not take just that slight advantage to have you the only one out there? I'm going to be surprised if they don't come out. Detroit take a knee instantly to get their jammer off the line just to see if they can get ahead before Jukebox comes in.
Minnesota's coach, Dante Gravity, has called for an official review, I believe, of that last point there, wondering why the heck Jukebox was called off there during that apex jump.
I would think
I
that
didn't
a
see
fine
anything,
thing.
but I was...
Yeah, we have to look through all of the refs and announcers, the NSOs, in the middle. So from our angle, we just could not see. So I can speculate that maybe as she came in, she had a wheel out. I don't know. It's one of the reasons I'm very happy I'm not a ref. I do not want to have to make those calls.
I'm married to one. It's bad enough.
I am sure you never win an argument. Are you allowed at least to call off the argument? Hands on the hips?
Hands on the hips. It's usually when I look like a petulant child as I storm away.
This one's going the full 2 minutes, John. 52 for Detroit, 44 for Minnesota. We will get some clarification. Our rep will be over here and hopefully be able to inform us as to what the decision has been as soon as they make it.
Refs are hooked up together over on one side, all chatting.
A great local sponsor here in Indianapolis is Erie Insurance. Other people might make funny ads, but seriously good insurance is what you will get. Erie, E-R-I-E, Erie Insurance.
Looks like Juke's penalty was a misconduct penalty for blocking with your feet off the ground. That's what they like to call it. The penalty stands, however. Minnesota's charged that timeout. So we got a couple seconds where Honey Suckett's going to be jammer. Well, not even. As Jukebox's time ended, and there we go. Minnesota taking knees one by one. Scarman Electra skates out in front. Jukebox.
Secondhand smoke. Oh, the one person that Honey Suckett needed to get around, she was not able to.
There we go for Jukebox. Much better this time. Secondhand smoke heading to the box. Not having, she's having a little more luck blocking in the back, but not legally.
Nice bit of action there. Jukebox just hopping around.
That. Wow. Jukebox just getting by.
She's had plenty of time to rest. She had a phenomenal one. That adrenaline was still flowing in there, even though she sat down for about 2 minutes. Now she's trying to wind up, seeing if she can perhaps draw the back blocking foul. That she is not able to get it off of Polly Fester.
Oh, that was Fatal Femme and Racer McChaser up at the front there. She had to get past, and she just kind of jumped through them. That was amazing.
And she picks up 4 points, which amounts to a lead change. Minnesota is at 53, Detroit still 52.
1 point game with just under 11 minutes in this first half. I was on a podcast last night, and they did say that this was going to be the game to watch. This was going to be probably one of the closest games of the weekend, and I think they're right.
Oh, yeah. As was coming in, I think this was the game that people were expecting to have happen. This is one of those that, the Midwest has great rivalries between like 4 teams, and they just all work hard against each other, as you're seeing right now playing out in front of you.
Harmony got a minor back block there, so she is not lead jammer. That allowed Polly Fester to get lead jam and call it off.
Smart.
Whew.
Flat Track Revolution, where your passion. That is flattrackrevolution.com.
And we have a timeout charged to Detroit.
Remember, you have hashtag #TalkToWFTDA if you want to give us little bit of feedback. Why not? Talk, the number 2, WFTDA. We might take a look and see if it's interesting to us at the very least. But we want to get your feedback. We want to think, what are you thinking out there? Anything interesting over there, Madman?
Well, finally, Alex comes here and gives the non-form-fitting face shields, half face shields, or face cages are strictly prohibited, FYI. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, Black Eyed Skis is out there skating with a fabulous full-face helmet that whole time. Rebel Alliance helmet, which kind of makes me a little on Detroit's side, but
it has with that black and red a little Mad Max flavoring to it, which to me, if you've seen that team, they could handle living in the post-apocalyptic universe.
Barely Human asks if they are serving snacks in the penalty box. That would be a good reason for folks to be heading there as much as they are. First it was Detroit, but not to be outdone, Minnesota's doing a little penalty box action there as well.
You don't own this. We get some of this too. Half of this is ours. As somebody else decides to sit down, fills up now 2 into the penalty box. Looks like blocker's going to be a little light for Minnesota, as I see 2 plus the 1 jammer. Though, not to be outdone, Detroit also has 2 blockers in the box. We have even up right out on the track.
Honeysuckett for Detroit in the black and red, up against Lexicutor for Minnesota in the aqua and army. And we've stopped. Second-hand smoke is back in for Minnesota. Takes a knee, but then stands.
Red light. Green light, red light. Green light, red light.
Polly Fester and Elle McPherson trying to keep second-hand smoke away from the rest of her team. Eventually allows her through. And another little rugby scrum going on here. People are just trying to claw their way through as best they can.
Nice come through from Polly Fester from the inside to the out. Gets right in front of Lexicutor. Is able to slow her down. Lexicutor, though, still trying to get around now. She's got the pivot. She is able to get past. She is now your lead.
Elle McPherson pretty much held her off single-handedly for a good 5 seconds there, but she's your lead jammer. Minnesota now back at full strength. That means both these teams are back up to full strength. Not something we've seen very often this bout.
Yeah, especially as progressed. We're now at 8:44. 52-53, still a 1-point game. That might change at any moment. But we're going to see as no pack is called. Jam is ended.
And Naughty Kitty heads to the box. Lexicutor goes down and calls it off after picking up 3 points. Minnesota's up to 56.
Adam Wheels is the official wheel of the WFTDA. Some great folks, great products from Adam Wheels.
We have a little message from the youngest lead jammer in roller derby history, Princess Mad Dog of the Twin Cities Junior Roller Derby Girls, asking if I just made fun of cookies in the box. Because when the TCJRD, Twin Cities Junior Roller Derby, when you go to the box, you do get a cookie. So I don't know if that's really encouraging the type of behavior we really want to see.
You know, if they were giving out juice as well, I don't think this game would ever get underway.
Juice box and animal crackers, that's it. And we have this timeout. It is 30 seconds so far.
Indeed, an official timeout, so they're going to get a conference going. We have our head ref talking right now. We're going to see what that was all about.
We're just dealing with a uniform issue. Blue 00 was given a penalty and shouldn't have been for a uniform issue.
Oh, okay. All right, they were overturning a uniform issue there. Naughty Kitty was called on a uniform issue of some type, but then the the refs realized no, they shouldn't have called her. Unfortunately, she doesn't get that those few seconds in the box back.
I'm not quite sure what a uniform issue would be, rather than one that is standardized and regulated. But what would that?
Well, I know Minnesota just got brand new uniforms just for this tournament due to new WFTDA regulations. The side stripe was a little too wide with the new rules. So these are brand new uniforms here. Hopefully they'll bring them luck.
We will find out if the jam gets underway. Racer McChaser with a little bit of an incentive to her teammate. Take a knee. I want to go. So she's able to do that. Bruzy Susie's able to get up out of her way. Racer McChaser trying to move around the outside, just running into Cookie Rumble, now trying to get past her, if indeed she can. Looks like Eliminator's going to go to the box for Detroit. Things are finally starting to break up. That looks like that is D1 Commander Nix, your lead jammer for Minnesota.
Absolutely. But hot on her heels, the ever fearsome Racer McChaser. Scarman Electra, the pride of Duluth, with her first trip to the box.
Smart move to the inside. Commander Nix going down. She puts the hands to the hips first. That's more important to call off that jam. Is able to pick up, is that 3?
Yeah, looks like 3, and was able to call it off in time before she was going down, and she wisely was calling it off as she was falling, thus stopping Racer McChaser from getting any points there.
So that's going to be now 7-point difference. We have Minnesota at 59. Detroit is sitting at 52 points.
Racer came over and talked to one of the coaches, big paparazzi over here at turn 3.
Would like to thank Derby Supply, the best customer service in business, period.
Harmony Killebrews. Round the inside. She's your lead jammer. Booty Livers knocks down. Wow. Booty Livers knocks down Venus Thigh Trap to get through.
I'd say rocks down. I think that's exactly what she did.
Down and knocks down.
She just grind her way. She's able to get a clean pass. She's out and through. All right, a couple of more hit it and quit it points. We'll see if she can pick up all 4. She does. Minnesota trying a little bit something different. Now, I wonder, Maddie, do you think that it's just so much hard hitting at the outset, they're trying to employ different strategy? Do you think maybe fatigue is a factor?
You know what? I think what we do is we just keep on. What Dante Gravity is a very zen. We talked about this yesterday. He's a very zen-like coach. He wants to remain calm, change things, ebb and flow with nature, with the nature of the other team. Evolution, revolution. Jukebox lining up here against Racer McChaser again. Man, I would not like to line up against Racer McChaser. Oh, but that time, Jukebox, wow, gets on through.
Minnesota takes full advantage of a very light pack, just lines them up a little bit to the inside. Jukebox paying attention, just pops around. She's able to get all the way back to point scoring opportunity right now. Racer McChaser went down for a moment, went to the inside, but a good solid block. I'm not quite sure. That might have been Polly Fester who made some contact there, is able to slow her down.
Scarman Electra back in, but Secondhand Smoke is also out now. Minnesota at 3 blockers. Detroit at 2.
As we run down to 5 minutes, interesting to see how the momentum has shifted ever so slightly. Detroit was kind of coming in with this power mentality and just getting through and getting points, and it seems as though that has now switched. They were just neck and neck running into each other, and now Minnesota just playing a little more agilely. Quite honestly, I don't think it's a smarter game. I think that they can just get around. There's a lot more sprightly behavior. People just, jumping apexes is not something that Detroit is known for.
Commander Nix winding her way through here as Honey Suckett tries to take through the back. Commander Nix up at the front. Oh man, those Detroit girls. Oh, big hit by Booty Livers. Nice hit. And that allows, oh no! That allowed Honey Suckett to get through.
All kinds of whistles going off here.
But Nix was called as your lead jammer and then was able to call it off right away. Lucky for Minnesota there, because Detroit really had their number. Dr. Psycho Cub is on Talk to WFTDA saying the referees are doing a great job calling the multiplayer blocks. Thanks to the exceptional HD stream, we can concur. I wonder if that counts as a commercial.
That is a testimonial, my friend. That
Absolutely.
Is a testimonial to the high quality that indeed you can purchase for just $20, which will run through the entirety of today as well as tomorrow. But as an added bonus, you act right now.
Don't you get 90 days to rewatch these bouts?
90 days. I had to look it up. It was 90 days. That's 3 months.
I know these. A lot of these teams. Well, I know 9 of them in particular that have already purchased these and are going to be watching these over the next month to see who these who these top 3 teams coming out of North Central are going to be. Watch their play style, see who they're going to be matched up against, and we're going to find that out tomorrow night. We're going to find out where the matchups are tomorrow night, who the first seeds First seeds, of course, are all going to get a bye. Who the second versus thirds are going to be in Denver at Continental Divide and Conquer, the 2011 WFTDA Championships. Medusa up against Polly Fester. Medusa's first jamming appearance in a few jams here. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Polly Fester's keeping it on the inside, also acting as a blocker. Oh, Medusa walks on her toe stops, tippy toes, just to remain inside and not allow any of her wheels to get outside. Wow.
3:33 left to play. 16-point difference.
Blows
Advantage
through.
Minnesota.
4 points.
Absolutely.
Calls it off.
Now it seems like Minnesota's really trying to take advantage of that play. They have a little bit of a head of steam behind them. They're just getting through. Crowd is starting to get behind them again. What was interesting is as these two teams were warming up, there didn't seem to be any real favoritism one way or the other. Minnesota would come out, yay! Detroit would come out, yay! And it's just, people knew that this was going to be one of those great games.
Yep.
And right now, Minnesota's going to be going into the half with a bit of an advantage unless Detroit can do a little bit something right now from Honeysuckle.
Just under 3 minutes in this period remaining. Probably one more jam after this. Jukebox having trouble at the back. Tries to cut around the inside and does. Lead jammer, Jukebox. She did pretty much exactly the same thing that Medusa did last jam. Kind of cut inside and kind of tiptoe through. That way she's able to hug the inside curve of turn one a lot easier. Diamond Rough pushing out Honeysuckle. Oh. And then Elle McPherson trying to answer in kind.
I was wondering if we were going to see that. Jukebox was coming in very hard. I was wondering if we might get that. She did. She got a major forearm. She needed to push her way through. Unfortunately for her, Detroit was loose. They got back together very tight. She just came in a little heavy.
And at pretty much the same time, Lexicutor got a major back block, and she's sent to the box. Detroit is now in the minivan situation. Minnesota only 2 players out there having to defend. Diamond Rough had to let her through. 5 points for Detroit. But now Detroit's pivot being waved off as well. That's Elle McPherson. Another grand slam, Detroit. Honeysuckle.
That little tiny pack out there.
Here she goes again. Inside. Oh, big booty block. Diamond Rough. And then skates way, way back.
We've seen her do that a couple times this week, and every time it puts a smile on my face. She can lift somebody off the ground. She is just a tremendous force to skate against. One of the great blockers.
Oh, and Voodoo Prodigy comes out of the box with a big head of steam. Gets involved in this. Minnesota's forming up. 3 at the front. And now Jukebox is back in. And Lexicutor as well. So Minnesota is back up to full strength. Detroit with 1 blocker in the box. 46 seconds. Looks like we are going to have 1 more jam before the half.
No point in using a timeout now. Plenty of time to get at least 1 more underway. Looks like captain for Minnesota in there having a discussion with the head, Matt Manch, our head referee for this crew. Going to get things lined up.
No back, there we go. 30-33, that's Cookie Rumble, takes her intentional 4th penalty. Racer McChaser gets through, she's your lead jammer. Secondhand Smoke tried to slow down by doing the splits there and took a bit of a tumble. Racer McChaser coming up on the Minnesota pack. Gets through, calls it off.
You can see just from the camera action moving right here how fast this game is. They're just trying to keep track of the energy because it's not only where the jammers coming through. There is blocking happening all over the entirety of this track. Pack, I have not seen, honestly, one of these pack have any majority control throughout the first half of this game so far.
Wow, that's that's a hell of a thing. Detroit 70, Minnesota 76.
Close that gap just toward the end.
Pretty crazy.
We are back with you here at the WFTDA North Central Region Playoffs, the Monumental Mayhem. Interesting game so far. Minnesota now only 6 points. It was very close. Then there was about 10-minute span, not even, where Minnesota started to build, get a little bit of a lead away. But at the very end, Detroit was able to bring it back within 6 points.
Yeah, Minnesota was up there in the stands last night watching Detroit take on these fine folks right here, the Brew City Bruisers, and Brew City had really done really well, I thought, against Detroit, and then in the second half, Detroit really turned on the steam. So Minnesota knew that, watched that, and just want to make sure that they don't underestimate it. They might be ahead, but they're only ahead by 6, and Detroit is a really good second half team.
And if you have any opinion on that, you can get us hashtag #TalkToWFTDA, TALK, the number 2, WFTDA.
That's on Twitter, by the way.
Are there other places that use the hashtag?
I don't know. Probably. I like the hashtag because it reminds me of my mother's cookies, my peanut butter cookies, where you put the fork.
The fork, yeah. I'm from the Midwest, too. I remember the fork at the top of the cookie. Are you kidding me? We would like to thank, as always.
Besides our mothers.
Oh, every day. Every day. Dr. Hauschka, the WFTDA's official bruise healer. Lose the bruise with Dr. Hauschka's Ouch Aid. Fine imported German botanical products. Dr. Hauschka. Also, we would like you to go to RollerGirlsSkates.com. If you're ever at an event, see if you can find Trigger. She is somewhere in the crowd. You might win a prize. You can sign up for a free set of wheels, but get more information about that at RollerGirlsSkates.com.
I pretty much assume that there's going to be a whole bunch of folks from Windy City that come down for tomorrow, either the third place game or the first place game. We're only 3.5 hours from Chicago, and their team is guaranteed to be playing in one of those two, so they always will come down, and maybe they can find Trigger. All right, we got Jukebox. Yep, sharing a little joke with Racer McChaser, lined up as jammers. Behind them, about to get her intentional 4th minor. That is Harmony Killer Brews.
Again, Pack moving a little bit closer to that jammer line. Going to see if they can hold it off. 4th intentional minor. Didn't quite see. Did you see who the blocker was?
Nope, that was Harmony Killer Brews. Just mentioned that. She's getting sound sitting next to Diamond Ruff.
Your voice is so soothing. It just comes in, and I just go, whatever you say, John Maddox. I don't even need to pay attention. I just calm.
That's true.
Calm.
Kind of rushing through here. I think Racer McChaser had a chance to get past Naughty Kitty there, but chose to hold off and try to take down Jukebox, but Jukebox gets through.
Polly Fester with a nice bit of chasing, but remember from before, she learned the hard way. Can't get too far out, so she brings herself way back into the pack and decides much better to play a little bit of offense now, helping her jammer get through.
Yep, that was Voodoo Prodigy trying to take out Racer McChaser. Just glanced off her. The angle was just a little bit off. 4 points, Jukebox, and calls it just before Racer gets to the back.
That was the strategy they went into the half with. We'll see how long they can keep that as they come back out.
It's an illegal procedure call on Minnesota. On Voodoo Prodigy. Harmony Killer Brews is standing. Voodoo Prodigy is sitting. We got a Detroit blocker. I can't see. They're behind a ref. Detroit blocker in the box right now as well.
That's right. Just yell, "Hey, ref, get out of the way." Always goes over well. That looks like Honey Suckin', I believe, was almost through, but she did not make it, as Lexi Cuter is your lead jammer.
And Booty Livers gets called out. Lexi Cuter, big smile on her face as she travels around here.
She's just having a good day all the way around. Actually, a good weekend. She's been a great player for Minnesota for quite some time now. Really a phenomenal one today, yesterday, getting him to this 2-3 seed game.
Minnesota picks up another 4. It's going to bring up to 84, 14-point lead over Detroit. 28 minutes, just under 28 minutes remaining. Cookie Rumble lining up for Detroit. For those of you just joining us, Detroit is in the black and red. Minnesota is in the aqua and army, or for you plebeians, blue and green.
I prefer to call it olive drab. I think Army, we had this discussion earlier. Army, in my opinion, is the conglomeration of those 3 different colors that make up the camouflage, as was established by the military in the 40s. But that is an olive drab color. That's just me.
I'll let you keep on thinking that.
I like it, though.
Well, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, because she got through. That is Commander Nix, and she's your lead jammer for Minnesota.
But here comes the jammer for Detroit, Cookie Rumble.
Cookie Rumble, yeah, just getting past Medusa. And secondhand smoke being sent to the box. I believe that is her 4th or 5th trip, so she's really got to watch it.
I think so far already 3 times this weekend we've seen people kicked out of the game because of those 7 trips. So I think you're right at 5. She has been a great force for Minnesota. They do not want to lose her now, especially as Detroit is only trailing by about 14 points, as they sit at 70.
And you saw why Harmony took that intentional 4th penalty. You got her out here jamming. You want to make sure that your jammer does not have 3 minors on her, because a little scrape is going to send her to the box. Honey Suckett lining up against Harmony. And we have a timeout. Just as my heart rate gets up, we slow it down. It's like cardio training.
I don't know. I think there was a conspiracy going, because our rep was already walking out onto the track before that official timeout was called. He knew something was coming.
Yeah.
Either they planned it or he's just really good. And I'm going to go with the experience I've had with him this weekend. He's just really good.
As our intuition.
All of our officials have been just top-notch. Our NSOs, even the whiteboarders on the outside, which, are NSOs. But our reffing crews, we want to thank them, as always, for the best call in many sports that are out there are these fine individuals. We want to thank them for all of their hard work and dedication to the sport of flat track roller derby.
I'd like to say hey to some people that are watching from home. Scissor 2 V's. Of course, Mouthpiece. We all know Mouthpiece. Crimson Shivers and Hockey Honey 7. I never thought I would be giving shout-outs to Twitter names, really.
How far this sport has come.
See Minnesota's huddle there. You see the 2 captains in the middle there. They're back to the camera. That is Psychonovia, number 109. She's facing the other captain with the jammer star. That is Jukebox. Head coach Dante Gravity in the black shirt and black shorts. Once again, having that calm chatter that Minnesota is really been known for. It started out, and there's a lot of refs. I've been talking about this all weekend. There's a lot of refs. I'm sorry, not refs, coaches that just are yelling at their skaters, yelling at the officials, and Minnesota keeps it calm. Minnesota's trying to keep it calm the whole time.
And they have done that for years. That's been one of the great experiences of playing Madison, as I'm with Minnesota, is they have gone back years and years. You can see the evolution exactly of that Minnesota, especially the last few years, is one of the calmest, most collected groups on the bench, and that, I believe, is one of the reasons that we see them again and again in this top 3.
And Minnesota, that was a little confusion over that 4th minor penalty. They were just getting things sorted out. Want to make sure, because that 4th minor is just as good as a major. That'll send you to the box just for the same time. Jam's been on for 20 seconds now.
Trying to burn up some clock time. Both of these teams having players come in from the bench.
Elle McPherson back for Detroit. Gertrude Stein for Minnesota. Elle McPherson heading up front, and she gets called out again.
I think she was out there, and we heard the one whistle, and it was everybody. You could see everybody stopped and looked and was like, who was it? Oh, it was me. Sorry.
And this is what we've been seeing with these 2 teams. You can see that just the scrum. It's like watching rugby when everybody's going after that ball. There ain't no ball in roller derby. Here she goes. That is Harmony Killebrews.
Pack, not sure where they were. They're back and forth, and JC Chaotix trying to figure out exactly. They're so spread out. She decides here's where they're at. Then it gets moved to the back. That's what's interesting when you're so spread out, and it's like that accordion idea. You're not quite sure where the bulk is suddenly going to become most prevalent. You've got to have a consistency, being both teams represented by the largest number of skaters. If you're all mixed in, it then says, okay, there's more here, there's more there, but then we've got blue up here and there's not enough. So your pack placement can change rapidly. One of the very difficult things that our referees have to pay attention to is if you're in the pack suddenly is somewhere else, what contact can happen and how quickly that can shift from legal and illegal.
Jukebox lining up against Racer McChaser on the jam lines. And it looks like Medusa has taken her intentional 4th, heading to the box. We have Detroit's pivot. That is number 6, Ellen McPherson in the box for Detroit. 2 Minnesota blockers. So Detroit with the blocking advantage right now.
Interesting to point out, not a whole lot of points have been put up on the board in the last 5.5 minutes.
No.
Racer McChaser is going to try and change that right now as they still sit at 70. Looks like she gets through. She is your lead jammer.
And there we go. Jukebox gets on through. Jukebox half a track behind Racer McChaser. Racer McChaser making her scoring pass and tries to toe the line.
Nice bit of a connection. Number 6 trying to help her teammate out. Ellen McPherson saw that she had to push. Did not happen. Jam ended anyway, but again, smart from Racer McChaser. She knew that she wasn't going to be able to make it. Just spun it out as quickly as she could to get behind.
Picks up 3 points. Minnesota 0, chipping away at that little lead there. 13 points separate these two teams. Minnesota at 86, Detroit 73.
Derby for all experienced Derby skaters, getting you the right gear to take you to the next level. That is Derby for all.
And those boos that are coming from the crowd, of course, are saying for Boo Delivers. Skating for Detroit right now. And those boos made her skate faster. There she goes. Lead jammer, Boo Delivers. Commander Nix still trying to get through the rest of those Detroit blockers.
Great work on the inside from Cool Whip, N20. I love especially as she starts to run up on somebody. She puts the arms up, not trying to contest it. It almost looks like she's dancing up on somebody at the club. But sometimes she gets a little too close for comfort as she goes to the penalty box right now. Jammer is getting back into the rotation. High, quick hit right there on the jammer for Minnesota. Once again, then getting knocked out while in the front.
Tiki Torture, as well as Gertrude Stein, just not letting her through. Just really holding, just zeroing in on her. Commander Nix has made it through. She can now start scoring points. But I think the Boo Delivers is just about to call it off there. Perfect timing because she was only about 5 or 7 feet behind behind the end of the Detroit line when that final 4th whistle called. Because remember, jam's not over until that 4th whistle blows. You can still keep on scoring points.
And you can still make hits. That's one of the things that we've seen a lot. We've talked about the Midwest and the power that they bring. They also have gotten in the last 2 years, at minimum, if not 3, very conscientiously aware of where that 4th whistle is going to blow. We've been seeing hits delivered throughout the consistency of the day. That is just very well timed. I've seen a few people pull back because they think they can get it, and 4th blows, and then they stop. Very well aware how much more contact they can make. If you want to send us some messages, you can talk better than I can. You can go ahead and tweet hashtag talk to WFTDA, TALK to WFTDA.
We got a timeout call. Both coaches out as well as both captains. The Jammer line has asked us which one of us is the one that sounds like Bob Saget. I don't know which one that's supposed to be.
I would think that's you.
Really? Oh, Saget.
Does that make me Uncle Jesse?
As long as neither of us is Dave Coulier, I think that's all right.
I think we agreed just right then and there. Neither of us was going to be Dave Coulier.
He didn't even get to get on the stage for the roast. He was like sitting out there at a table.
Canadians are down there, sir.
Probably had to pay.
Five Stride Skate Shop. I'm going to put out a couple of names, and you can tell me, because I've already given you a hint. What do they have in common? Bonnie Thunders, Deranged, Psychobabble, Susie Hot Rod, and Teflon Donna. What do those skaters have in common?
I'm going to say the Five Stride Skate Shop.
Indeed, it is the preferred shop of those amazing athletes. When you are Five Stride, you can say, you know who shops here? Bonnie Thunders, Deranged, Psychobabble, Susie Hot Rod, Teflon Donna, and so many more that we could not even fit on the sheet that go in for the service, the expertise, and the quality of care that is brought to you by Five Stride Skate Shop.
I suppose we could have used a smaller font.
I don't read that small. Are you kidding me?
You're already wearing glasses.
So they don't hit me, all these people coming around. I heard what you said into the microphone.
And the timeout has now lasted 2 minutes. Count them, 2 minutes.
And our score seems to be Detroit is at 77 points, Minnesota at 86. we have got the next game that is going to be coming up in about an hour's time. That is going to be the Brew City Bruisers going up against the Chicago Outfit. They are going to play on to see who will end up in the 5th, 6th placement tomorrow at 150. So at 3 o'clock today, you have the Brew City Bruisers and the Chicago Outfit. They are going to go up against whoever wins between Arch City Roller Girls and Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Three-minute penalty now.
You are watching WFTDA.com. Of course, you can find it through DerbyAccess.com, but WFTDA.com, you can watch this just clearer, crisper, more vivid. The resolution increases dramatically. It goes from regular quality, my friend, to high quality indeed. All that's going to cost you is $20. You're going to have the opportunity to watch these so much clearer. You can be able to get the numbers faster. You can get those subtle moves because the high quality stream is just that much better. It's going to be $20 for the rest of the weekend, but again, you do have access to the high quality archives, and that's going to be one of the great benefits of it. You're going to be able to go back and watch. I know that there are teams from the other regions that have done exactly that because they want to see what the teams they're going to be playing at championships are doing this weekend. So just like them, be like a roller girl. How about that? I'm going to use that tagline from now on. It's going to be $20. You're going to be able to have access for the next 90 days. That is 3 months. Almost as long as this official timeout has lasted.
That was actually Detroit contesting one of the out-of-play penalties that sent one of their players to the box. The call, however, stands. Also, there was some confusion, and a Minnesota player did go to the box on her own and was then pulled out.
They're just so polite. They thought, I must have
been me. I must have offended someone.
I must have done something. Even if the ref didn't see it, I just need to.
Oh, pumping those arms. That's Cookie Rumble. Look at that. She's like rock'em sock'em robots out there. Just
she's going to knock somebody's block off if she gets the opportunity. Jammer is through for Minnesota, of course, being waved off. Very thin pack. Make it easy for Cookie Rumble. Takes almost a bit of a step, but prying in for the outside. That is secondhand smoke. Comes inside, then across, then blacks her back. You've got number 55. Pivot almost making some hit. Jammy is called by Detroit.
4 points for Detroit, 0 for Minnesota. That's going to bring Detroit up to 81, Minnesota 86, 5-point game.
Whew. You know, one of the things that we also haven't mentioned, we do have DVDs for sale.
Oh yeah, $15 a game?
$15 a game. That's not just for 30 days. You can own it as long as the DVD is the most likely technological way to review video.
Forever and ever.
And ever. So that's going to be $15. But if you want the entire tournament of this weekend, that is the North Central Region Playoffs. That is $200 for a DVD of all of the games that you are seeing on WFTDA.com. So, Mr. John Maddening, do you see any action out there at the moment?
I see Booty Livers right up at the front trying to get past the last of the Detroit blockers up at the front. Jukebox also making it right through. Oh! What was that? Jukebox, your lead jammer. Looks like, I believe that was a low block penalty called on Black Eyed Skis. Or failure to fall small enough.
Jukebox trying to pick her line, decides to move up the inside. It's worked well for her before. She's got this wonderful, I used to call it the gallop stride, where she just lunges into every move and she gets such power and force through that at half a track she's able to get around. She gets in front.
Look
she
at that.
Gets that extra point. It's almost like a little, hey Detroit, this one's for you, and pulls out right in front of Booty Livers to get that jammer point.
She likes to use the punctuation, and her old home team right up there, the Dairyland Dolls, square in her corner there. We've got some, a lot of times Minnesota and Wisconsin, they have a little rivalry, but in this, it looks like the Dairyland Dolls are square in Minnesota's corner here. 81-91, 10-point game, just over 19 minutes to go. Lining up for Minnesota, that is Medusa up against number 1974, Honey Suckett for Detroit.
Usually we don't see a lot of slow derby in the Midwest. We're seeing
No.
it a little bit more in this game than we've seen throughout the weekend, but it's not one of those situations where it's taking a full minute or the full 2 minutes,
Nope.
which is very rare, thankfully, for a lot of fans out there. But what we're finding is that they are trying to use it really well, most effectively just to burn penalty time, and that's what works, because that's going to get a full pack. But in the meantime, 1974, that is Honeysuckle, who happens to be the lead jammer for Detroit.
Elle McPherson and Secondhand Smoke both heading to the box. I believe both of them are racked up quite a few penalties there. I'm not sure the exact number. We'll get that to you. But I just want to call out Cookie Rumble. Medusa almost had it through, and Cookie Rumble did this kind of twist booty block there that really just knocked Medusa for a loop and knocked her out of contention, allowing Honeysuckle the time she needed to get through. That Cookie Rumble, she's just awesome on offense and defense. He'll take that. 4 points. Knocking it down to a 6-point game. 17:50 remaining.
It's interesting. Detroit keeps getting within that 6. It's like the magic number, and then all of a sudden Minnesota pushes ahead again. Detroit brings it back. I'm wondering what it's going to be to get Detroit just that little bit more. This might be the opportunity to make that change right now, as Racer McChaser is through for lead.
Absolutely. Lexicutor now trying to get through. She has to get past Fatal Femme. Fatal Femme holding her back, all on her lonesome. Oh, got lapped there by Racer McChaser. 5 points. That brings Detroit up to 90. 1-point game right now. She's going to try to make it even more.
Lexicutor doing her best to get through up to the pack. In the meantime, Racer McChaser is actually getting through. None for Minnesota, 4. That was it right there. Racer McChaser brings up to the lead change.
That's the lead change. 3-point game now. Detroit 94, Minnesota 91. But they are not down. That Minnesota contingent over there in turn 2, starting the Minnesota chant right away. Minnesota has called a timeout. Want to make sure they get everything together. Want to make sure everything's cool.
Probably a fair time in which to do that. You've got about 16 and a half minutes left to play. You've got 1 if you really need it. But when the game is this close, you really want to hold on to that 1, because there might be that last moment opportunity where you have to give everything you've got. With 3 points difference, I'm not quite sure what strategy is going to win out. I think really it's been just a balance of power. You've had Minnesota playing a little bit of a smarter game throughout, but just this perseverance with Detroit. And I'm not in any way saying that they're just bludgeoning their way through, but they're just playing solid Detroit Derby.
If you are coming down here to Monumental Mayhem, the North Central Regional Playoff tonight or tomorrow, you want to make sure that you stop by a certain booth and play a certain game. If you've been smacked by RollerGirlsSkates.com yet, you can stop by their booth to play, or you can just check out RollerGirlsSkates.com, another fine sponsor of Monumental Mayhem.
But also, if you want to keep checking us out, tune in tomorrow, WFTDA.com. We are going to have our championship game, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. 5th and 6th are even going to be thrown in there as well. We're just going to crown them all the way down, and it is going to start first thing in the morning.
F and Money takes that intentional 4th minor. We've got Jukebox up against Cookie Rumble. Secondhand Smoke passes the pivot line, and we're just waiting. And here we go.
Maybe. Wait, does the jammers know that
No.
they're... Yeah, that
there
was
we go.
exactly it. Matt Mance was like, no, that was 2. Oh, okay.
Oh,
That is why she jumped off the line, but she came back around thinking she'd have to yield position, but she did not, because it was both whistles taking
Jukebox.
advantage of that. Exactly, it is Jukebox.
Cookie Rumble, I thought she had it, but then she's now back at the back of the pack, having to deal with Secondhand Smoke. Now up at the front of the pack. Oh, but Jukebox passes her. Grand Slam Jukebox. That's another lead change now in favor of Minnesota. Cookie Rumble has now made it through and is on her scoring pass. We're going to see just how Jukebox wants to play this. Calls it off. Picking up 1 point. 2 points. 2 points.
Detroit 94, Minnesota 98. Minnesota again in black and red. Did I say Minnesota?
Yeah,
This has been the game to end all games for me, because I am just caught up in this whirlwind of action that is out there. It's Detroit in the black and red, their classic colors, and Aqua and Army.
That's right. That's
See,
absolutely right.
This is where I've been getting confused. It's the
We're going to have
two-way.
to trademark that or something.
Aqua and Army for Minnesota. Detroit in the black and the red.
All of a sudden, the crowd got really quiet until one person called out something or other.
I think it was Ricola. I thought that is what I heard.
Ricola? Nice.
That's what I'd heard.
Executor up against Honeysuckle.
Interesting right there. It looks like she can't decide if she wants to go forward or backward. A little bit of offense, defense for Executor as Honeysuckle just waits to see if they can do that prime maneuver. That's been working really well. That just kind of edging out. You just kind of put that little bit of a fence, just kind of line them up over and over. You open up the whole opportunity for your jammer. Didn't quite work as well as it has in the past for either of these.
And it looks like Black Eyed Skis got called out on a multiplayer block. Combo block.
Executor once again deciding which way she's going to go. Not quite sure. Up the middle is the approach that she's trying to take, hoping that one of her blockers will come back and force a little bit of a popping. She can get through that opportunity.
And if you need somebody to run a block area, that's Diamond Ruff. Diamond Ruff cleared some ways for her, and then Scarman Electra gave her the whip, and she got through. She's your lead jammer. Wow, that took quite a while. That took about 1 minute and 15 seconds for a lead jammer to be declared.
On that scoring pass, doing their best not to multiplayer. Good contact, though.
Grand Slam, Minnesota. Grand Slam, Executor.
Honeysuckle now also through. This will be her first pass. So we'll see how quickly the jam is going to be called off, just like that by Minnesota.
Takes up 2.
Take that advantage. That's going to bump them up as Detroit is now 94, Minnesota 105.
Minnesota passing the century mark. Detroit very close, just 6 points until they have 100.
Not only does Dr. Hauschka offer Ouch Aid, they also have wonderful other skincare products. Go to any local health and beauty aid store, or you can find them out online, drhauschka.com. So it is drhauschka.com.
Yeah, Finn Money lining up for Detroit. Back and forth, trying to get through the back of that Minnesota pack there. Harmony Killebrews also stuck in the middle. Harmony gets pushing the inside, comes out behind. Both of these jammers stuck in the middle here. F and Money gets pushed out. No, does not get pushed out. Very, very close. Naughty Kitty gets sent to the box there.
Much more cohesive pack play we saw in that pass right there. A lot more control from both of these groups. At that point, Minnesota was just able to take the opportunity to get around. We can see right there that number 22, F and Money, is still trying to struggle just that little bit. Black is going to come up defensively, going to see any opening they can provide for her. A bit too late as F and Money takes a stumble, then is back up on her feet. But here comes Minnesota.
Oh, down again. That time running into Psychonovia. One of the other very small players from Minnesota, one of their captains, a very tiny girl, but she hits just like a huge freight train. Grand Slam, Minnesota. Grand Slam for Harmony Killebrews.
That was very smart. She saw that there was going to be an opportunity coming, and she pulled up on her speed so that she didn't run into that wall waiting for it to open. Then she is able to get through, and it closed almost as though Indy didn't grab the hat, but at the last moment he does. He's able to pick up 5 points.
Polly Fester joining her Detroit compatriot in the box. Detroit now with 2 in the box, Minnesota 1. But both, we have the original 2 that are both standing. First Detroit out, now Minnesota out. So Detroit is down by 1 blocker. Detroit down by 1 blocker, and that's another Grand Slam for Minnesota.
Minnesota 115, Detroit 94. We have 10.5 left to go as the jam is called. Woo.
I'm a little...
We're almost just winded from watching this.
I am.
That is
At least
tremendous.
that's my exercise for the day. I know the hotel has an exercise room, but I don't think it's going to see much use here.
Not today. I think this is a great example for people to purchase a DVD of if you want to see how scores can be reflecting just that slow build. You have just both of these teams continuing to get toward that 100. Minnesota now just over it. But when you got about 10 minutes left to play and the scores are this low, but even, it just shows that these are very well-matched teams for defense, but also a lot of power that's going to get them that high in the points.
Jukebox goes around the outside, picks it up. Cookie Rumble, runs into the back of Minnesota's wall there up front. I think that was Voodoo Prodigy that knocked her down eventually. Cookie Rumble makes it through.
She does indeed. She is not going to be the lead jammer, though.
Jukebox calls it off before Cookie Rumble makes it to the back of the pack. Picks up 3 points for Minnesota. We had a few no pass, no points there, I believe.
Remember, on the Twitter, hashtag #TalkToWFTDA, TALK, the number 2, WFTDA. We'll be checking those throughout the weekend. If you want to be able to see a little bit better, you can also upgrade to the high-quality stream. We're going to be talking about that, too.
Pre-Flash Gordon, who is one of the he's the head photographer for the North Star RollerGirls out of Minneapolis, says that he wishes the camera would sometimes show the announcer guys. And we know that's not why people call
That's
it.
not why we want to sell the $20
Absolutely. Racer
high-quality
McChaser,
upgrade, and it is well worth it.
While we were yammering, Racer McChaser took it. Lexicutor having a little trouble up at the front with Bruzy Sue. Eventually does make it through, though.
It was an interesting lineup formation off that jam line. We had everybody right in front. Racer McChaser almost on that chorus line, just very, very close to her. Jammer was way back for Minnesota, but it looks like it has been able to be a good advantage right now because Detroit is trying to see if they can close that gap of about 24 points.
And they'll take 3. That's fine. That's all they need is to just chip away and hold down Minnesota. Don't let Minnesota score any points and just kind of chip away at that lead. It is by no means an insurmountable lead right now. Just 21 points.
Absolutely.
7 minutes, 50 seconds remaining.
It settles down to a 21-point differential. One of the things to be aware of is that we have not seen very many of those big, big jams, but we all know that they're possible. Something could go wrong for Minnesota right now. Detroit is able to take a power jam advantage. They could get those passes very, very quickly. There's that lead is gone.
And we have a little timeout. I want to say hi to Cleve Her out of East Bay in California, as the people call it. She says she's seen a lot more offensive blocking here at Monumental Mayhem than at Easterns or Westerns, and it's nice. And I got to say, I agree. This is the kind of roller derby I like to say. This is the kind of like hard, rough, tough, fast-hitting roller derby that I love to see.
Yep, and a lot of that comes from quality gear. We talk a lot about quality gear. We talk a lot about safety gear. But I want to talk about Atom Wheels for a moment because they are the official wheel of the WFTDA. They pair up very nicely with those Rydell skates, also a proud partner and official skate of the WFTDA. I'm sure you can see some of them out there right now as our jammers are trying to get through the pack. Right caught up in the middle. Detroit is stuck a little bit back. Cookie Rumble trying to move wide to the outside, but number 75 is
Harmony.
able.
That's right, Harmony Killebrews. Look at that. She just kind of gave a little bit jump over to the right and left before she got out of bounds, and she took it. Lead jammer Harmony Killebrews, of course, named after the famous Minnesota twin who just passed away this year, Harmon Killebrew. And she is living up to his amazing ability on the ball field. Harmony Killebrew is nice. Grabbed a couple more points from Minnesota. Brings them up to 122, Detroit 97, 6 minutes, 40 seconds remaining.
So I want to remind you that Minnesota came into this tournament as the number 3 spot. Detroit ranking above them at the number 2, so we might be able to see an upset. But I remember last year they were reversed. So actually it was Detroit coming in at 3. So now I think Minnesota's just trying to get a little bit of payback.
I thought Detroit came in at 2 last year. Was that not the case? I thought it was Detroit at 2, Minnesota at 7.
You see, I had my 7s and my 2s I always get.
But 2007, Minnesota was ranked number 2. Detroit came in at number 9 and knocked Minnesota out in the first round.
I was thinking as they were progressing forward, but as
Pardon
always,
me, good sir.
Maddening, as always, you make me sound smarter. And I thank you for that, because you're always
And
right.
you look prettier next to me, too. I mean, really.
You're a giver. So it
Racer
looks like
McChaser.
Racer McChaser indeed trying to get caught up behind that beautiful blocking of Diamond Rough. It lasted for a little while, but not long enough. As she is your lead jammer, that is Racer McChaser.
She goes. But out there still is Medusa. She's made it through, and she's not your lead jammer, of course, because that honor goes to Racer McChaser. Gets past number 303, Boosie Sue, who's now forming up the back of the pack.
25 points currently separate. We're going to see if there's any difference. It looks like nil. Both cases, neither one able to get any points on that pass.
Medusa was coming up really, really fast and hard, and Racer McChaser wisely called off the jam. However, Medusa got out in front of her right at the end, and she was pretty sure she had 2 points there. The referees disagree, and of course they have the final say. 187 undercover Lexicutor up next for Minnesota, up against Effin' Money for Detroit. 4 minutes, 52 seconds remaining. Minnesota 122, Detroit 97. For those of you just tuning in at the end here, Minnesota in the blue and green, or aqua and army as we like to call it, up against the fearsome black and red of the Detroit Derby Girls.
Continuing the strategy that we've seen here, a slow start. I haven't seen one quite as spread out as that, but that's enough to get them off the jammer line. Number 22 decides to whip it around very quickly. Effin' Money slows up, makes sure that her position is going to be a little bit more accurate as she tries to get through the pack. Minnesota, in the meantime, is getting that that's a three, up at the front, trying to get spread out. We have black control the front. Blue is at the back, trying to get that little bit of a trap going. Nice bit of an edging out from the defense on Effin' Money.
Lexicutor just getting around the outside there. Cuts in, gets past. Number 68, Summers Evel, gets lead jam. Wow. Minnesota was actually focusing all four of their blockers in the back, holding back the Detroit jammer, whereas Detroit, all four of their blockers in front, holding back Minnesota's jammer, but eventually it just got on through. Wow. Such athleticism, such strategy by both of these teams, so evenly matched.
Effin' Money doing her best to get through. Looks like she almost was getting a bit flustered, but she reined it in. She's just trying to play a lot smarter. Lexicutor now getting pushed out by Polly Fester, but now trying to get back into a position. See at the back of the pack has get recycled there. Effin' Money still caught up in the middle. Not a whole lot of help from her blockers right now, as that three wall of Minnesota is just going to continue to dominate that front. And as I say that, nice bit of a breakup coming from the Detroit blocker. Effin' Money about to get around.
Effin' Money was trying there to knock out Lexicutor when she saw her coming up. She's trying to score points, but she's also can be an effective additional blocker there when she's about to get lapped. Effin' Money's made it through his on her scoring pass, but it's called off. 5 points for Minnesota, 0 for Detroit. 2 minutes, 50 seconds remaining. Minnesota now 127, Detroit 97. That's a 30-point game. Increases
that. Detroit had a bit of a rally going for a very short time, just was not able to hold on to it as the gameplay for Minnesota just keeps edging out Detroit. Detroit, that power hitting team, but Minnesota, just the agility I think is going to be a factor. Penalties were some bit of an issue for a while from both of these teams. They seem to have quieted down a little bit, 1 or 2 going out at a time as compared to the 3 or 4 that we had during the biggest middle section.
Lead jammer, Racer McChaser. If there's anyone that can get that done, it's her. Fell down. Oh my goodness. She fell down right on top.
It's interesting, 2 major hits happened at that time. Somebody went over, landed, skate got tripped, knee into the back of somebody on the outside, but it was that inside hit that everybody was responding to. You could just see the pain on the face of Harmony Killerbrews, but she was able to get back up. She is still going to skate. She is still going to get out there with there's just 1 minute and 40 seconds left. Not going to give Detroit any opportunity to try and close that up. They are a great team. You do not want to let up at any moment.
Racer McChaser did. It's a very good move here by having Big Paparazzi over here in turn 3, because Racer McChaser nearly on the opposite side of the bench. It's an additional coach, an additional person to communicate with the skaters. Racer McChaser checking with Big Paparazzi before she called it off, wanted to make sure that she is seeing everything that is necessary to be seen out there. 1 minute, 9 seconds remaining. Last jam of the day, probably. And of course.
That is how you do it. Right as you get to the denouement of the moment, And now a word from our sponsors. Dr. Hauschka, the WFTDA's official bruise healer. Lose the bruise with Dr. Hauschka's Ouch Aid. Also, Fast Girl Skates is the industry pioneer in boot sizing and configuring for women's feet. If you've got a foot of a lady, they'll put a boot on it.
Couple of quick ones. Let's give one from each side just to be sure. Freddie Krugel, formerly of the North Star RollerGirls, pops in saying, dropping that Minnesota science, son. And Gimme More says, I want to play for Detroit Derby Girls when I grow up. And you could not go wrong playing for either of these teams. Two of the best teams, not just in the region, but in roller derby in general.
And I know, like I am, you are glad that you are tuned in. WFTDA.com. A great partner with us is Elemental Technologies. They are the world's most powerful video processing solutions. We want to thank them, Elemental Technologies, for helping us provide coverage here at the North Central Region Playoffs. Monumental mayhem.
21 points separate these two teams with the last jam here. Detroit has one blocker in the box. Minnesota has two. Detroit's going to try to use that small advantage to their advantage. See what can happen. Nobody's standing yet, so both teams have, all three skaters have some time left in the box. Executor skating good 8 to 10 feet behind, a big smile on her face.
Again, officials are having a conference out there trying to potentially gauge impact. You've got intent, you've got a number of factors. They all have to be considered in order. Some sort of significant ruling is probably going to be handed down here in just a moment based on the impact that we saw just a few minutes ago. $15 is all it's going to take. If you want to review this game, figure out how you might ever hope to not only compete, but maybe get an advantage on one of these teams, you could buy the DVD from this matchup or any other DVD from this weekend at Monumental Mayhem. It's going to be $15. But if you would like the entire set, that is going to be $200. It is at WFTDA.com. That is where you can go. They are your resource for all things women's flat track derby. As you saw on the monitor, might be something interesting as the head ref is going toward the bench, or the box, excuse me.
All right, that is an expulsion on second-hand smoke for a gross misconduct. She fell down. She was falling down, and her knee went to the back of the head of a falling skater. Frankly, from my perspective, and this is not even as a homer, from my perspective, it just looked like she fell, just happenstance. It just happened. But, you know, the rules are there for a reason. She's got to leave. And Minnesota's going to be without her for the rest of this game.
Well,
there's more jam.
There's the potential idea that gross misconduct is because she fell and she did not take specific effort not to have that result injure toward a skater. So that is possibly into the consideration, but that is why it took them long enough to decide the discipline that was doled out. We have number 187, Lexecutor.
Well, when all the marbles are on the line like this, you want to make absolutely sure, when it's coming down to these last jams, you want to make absolutely sure you get all those calls right.
Waiting to see Cookie Rumble if she, with the Jammer Star in black, is going to have any opportunity to get up. She is way at the back, though.
Lexecutor up front, trying to get past Racer McChaser. Falls.
Not quite able, with only 33 seconds left in this first period.
Tries it again. Oh! Oh!
You've got to hold this line. You still have 1 minute and 15 left in the jam. Enough time to make at least 3, maybe 4 passes, and that's what they need to do. They need to get that 5th, but it has to be all 5 to get past Minnesota at this point. Minnesota is just trying to keep them from getting any farther, and it just is nobody through the pack yet.
Man, Racer McChaser. Oh, and Lexi takes it. Lexi takes lead jam.
We're going to see what call she is going to get from her bench.
Expired.
If she comes back around, let's see what they're going to have her call it. So far, they're just going to keep her going.
And she
plays it up for the
calls
crowd.
It. Minnesota wins for the second year in a row. Minnesota is going to WFTDA championships. Wow. What a game, ladies and gentlemen.
That is something that people are going to be talking about for some time. Number 3 seed Minnesota coming in, taking down number 2 seed Detroit. Detroit goes through Brew City very handily only to end up at Minnesota, who took out Madison even stronger. So now it looks like we are going to have Minnesota. They will be taking on the victor of our last game of the day, the Windy City Rollers and the Naptown RollerGirls.
Oh my goodness. Minnesota, oh, look at those big, big smiles on their faces as they skate on by. Big, big handshakes, hand claps to everyone. They are so, so happy. So, so happy to be going to championships again. Swing by Detroit there. High fives to Detroit.
Hello, I am Bryant Mumble. I am joined by Jukebox of the Minnesota RollerGirls, who was just victorious over the Detroit Derby Girls. And first of all, congratulations. You have punched your ticket to the championship in Denver, Colorado.
We were very excited.
It was a very physical game. Can you talk a little bit about how physical it was out there?
It was really intense. I mean, Detroit kept it really tight the whole time. It was just neck and neck. I was just really glad we were able to keep a cool head and especially manage our penalties. That was the biggest thing. It was so physical, and they're just a really big and strong team. So it was really making sure that we were playing smart so that we could use our bodies in the best way instead of trying to knock them over, because it's not very easy to do. So I'm really happy with how we played, obviously.
Now you do jam work, which is incredible, and you also have pack play. Can you go into a little bit? You're one of the most agile skaters out there, and I think you're probably in the best shape you've been in your career so far. What have you been doing to get in this top shape?
We have 3-hour practices, and I've just been, personally, overall, our whole physical condition of our team is just gone way up over the summer. But I've just been skating as much as I can. I had a point in over July where I had 4 weekends of traveling for Derby, so it's just been trying to skate as much as I can, get outside, skate, just do whatever I can. Otherwise, I've been skating my whole life, so the agility just builds on there. I don't have to think about it too much, so that is a huge advantage for what most people come in for experience for skating, so it helps.
You've got one match left this weekend, the winner of Naptown versus Windy City. Can you tell us what the team's going to do in this last night in preparation?
We've been preparing for this the whole summer. Either team we'd be happy to play, but my God, do we want to play Windy City. I love a lot of girls on those teams, but I am ready to see them not take the North Central. It's time for a new throne, for some new king or queen. Sorry.
Fair enough. Congratulations, Jukebox. I'll let you join your team. Thank you very much for the interview. Continue to stay tuned. We've got a next exciting match coming up.